Okay, you ready?
What do you do with that?
Okay. Oh, Christian, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Christian from Airvo.
Yeah.
I don't even know that's the company. I know that's the product. But we're going to talk about Airvo. High flow nasal cannula. I know this is a high priority item for the peds side before the next respiratory season hit. It is a high priority item for somewhat for the adult side, but more the peds side. So go ahead and then you'll hear about it.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Christian. I'm with Fisher & Paykel Healthcare. Today we're going to go over the Airvo unit. Before we go in the Airvo unit, it sounds like you guys are going to be using a lot of peds first.
There's 5 peds. There's limited adult usage.
Okay.
But we get some of those cases.
Some cases. Okay. All right, I thought it was all adults, but that's fine. We'll go over peds too. So first, I kind of had the presentation set up for the adults. So more just kind of what's going on with high flow. I don't know if you guys, anyone currently using high flow, heard of that?
We've all heard
A little bit heard of that. What are you trying to hopefully try to reduce? Maybe some BiPAP patients or maybe some vent patients. Try to just stabilize the patient right away. Is that the main goal for you guys?
I want to get it called to, sorry, that's all right. We get called to pick patients up already on high flow.
Already on high flow.
And when we get there, we have to switch them or someone else has to pick them up.
Okay. So would it be more beneficial just to kind of go over the Airvo itself and how to set it up, or?
A little bit of
A
that.
little bit of both.
A little bit of both.
Let's talk
Okay.
about pathophysiology, how it works as well.
Okay.
And then we can talk about the equipment and stuff as well.
Yeah, so I'll go over a little bit about the clinical aspect of high flow and then spend a lot of time on the Airvo itself. So we're starting to see a lot of more increase in demand of high flow. A lot more people, a lot more clinical studies are really coming out to show the improved benefit of it. The big one was back in 2015, Dr. Fred actually was in the ICU. He did a randomized control trial in the New England Journal of Medicine. Actually, he found in a study they could reduce intubation rates by 40% versus a traditional oxygen therapy with a non-rebreather mask and then also NIV. So that really kicked off, I think, high flow. High flow has been around for a while, but that was the very first really large randomized control trial in the New England Journal of Medicine. After that, in JAMA, there was 2 articles published by Dr. Hernandez, who actually showed you could actually reduce the amount of reintubations after just conventional oxygen therapy after a patient was intubated, and then also he had a non-inferiority study that showed high flow worked just as well as BiPAP after post-extubation. So those were done 2015, 2016, and now we're starting to see the need actually starting to trickle down to the ED, and now we're starting to see it into your guys' realm too. How do we transport patients? How do we move them from point A to point B? I've even seen places in the hospital where they're using it for mobility, trying to get patients up, moving around on high flow. And what's going on in high flow, there's several things. It's not just oxygen delivery. There's several other components of it, which I'll kind of show you. So what is actually going on? So there's 4 really key components. I don't know if you guys will see. I'm going to try to bounce off to the side here. So there's 4 things. There's respiratory support, patient comfort, supplemental oxygen, and airway hydration. The big one is the respiratory support. What's going on with that? So you get reduction of dead space and then dynamic positive airway pressure. So reduction of dead space means every time you exhale, you've got a little bit of residual CO2 in your upper airway. So what happens when you breathe that back in, you and I, CO2 enriched, it's just going back to the lungs. So what high flow does is it's actually able to wash out the upper airway at the end expiration. So then the next time the patient breathes in, it's oxygen enriched gas. So it's going to actually help out with get more oxygen to those patients. Dynamic positive airway pressure, think of PEEP. One of the Park studies that came out said for every 10 liters of flow, you're getting about 1 centimeter of PEEP. So kind of give you an idea, reduction in dead space. This is just a quick 30-second video. So reduction in dead space, this is done in a CT scan. They made a model of an upper airway of a normal human. This is just on 40 liters. So you can see on the left, the red is CO2 enriched gas, and you can see what's kind of happening. And the ones at 40 liter on the right. So once you get to end expiration, you're going to see the right cavity start clearing out. So you think about that patient now the next time they breathe in compared to the left side versus the right side. So that's how you're getting that oxygen-rich gas. Talked about dynamic positive airway pressure. So this is also another one. This is just showing how far down this actually goes. So this is just done. You can see on the right 45 liters, how you're starting to clear out all the way down to the trachea too. So showing what's going on with the patient. And as that increases, you're having flows increase, you're actually clearing out more of that upper airway. So then dynamic positive area pressure. So same thing, you have a patient that comes in really hard breathing. I always describe it as, okay, everyone get up, we're gonna run around the building as fast as we can right now. What's gonna happen to our work of breathing? Your inspiratory demand. It's gonna go up, it's gonna go up, it's gonna go up. So imagine a patient in distress or really high work of breathing, respiratory rates really increased. Dynamic positive airway pressure is going to help slow that down. It's going to help those long breaths, kind of like I would say like yoga. Breathe in, it's a slow, long, deep breath. It's going to help out too with their lung. Dr. Corley, I'll show a video here too. Dr. Corley did a study and she found that the actually end expiratory lung volume increased by 25% on this. So you can actually see the video here, lung impedance belt on the lungs. And you can see compared to traditional oxygen therapy versus OptiFlow on the Airvo, what you see at 40 liters. So this is just low flow. So think about patients breathing in. And then you can see OptiFlow how it increases that too. So it just helps out with the airway, helps keep it standing open too. That's just kind of shows you what the effects of OptiFlow is going on. And the higher flows you get can deliver, the better it is. Because at 60 liters, which the Airvo can go up to, you're going to get about 1 to 6 centimeters of PEEP. As for peds, same thing. It's just obviously they're smaller kids, so you're still going to get some PEEP. I haven't seen any studies yet on kids to show exactly what they're getting, but I think you guys are just obviously transporting, so hopefully doctors will have that on there. Supplemental oxygen. So the same thing too, you're talking about patient inspiratory demand. We all go ran around the building, our inspiratory demand's increased. If you put a cannula on 15 liters of oxygen on a person with an inspiratory demand of 45, 50, 60 liters of flow, are they getting 100% FiO2? No, because they're bringing in and training room air in. So that's actually going to lower it down. So the nice thing about high flow device is you can actually now meet or exceed that patient inspiratory demand and now deliver a more precise FiO2 to the patient rather than if you're on a 4-liter cannula, 6-liter cannula, just an oxygen mask where it's training room air. This now allows you to actually get you. So you can see on the left, if the patient's got just a normal peak inspiratory demand, everyone in this room right now is probably 25, 30 liters. We put on a 10-liter cannula. You can see the FiO2 is going to be variable just because we're going to be breathing in some room air. Compared to the right side, if your inspiratory demand is 30 and we put a cannula on, delivering 30 liters with 100% FiO2, it's now fine-tuned so you're able to deliver it to patients. Make sense? Mm-hmm. Any questions so far? Or? Okay. To make it comfortable, the big thing is airway hydration. So if you think about it, anyone been to Arizona before? Desert, breathe in through your nose. How long can you breathe through your nose before all of a sudden you're gasping for air because your upper airway is plugged up? So what makes us comfortable now is the airway hydration. So what we're trying to do is optimal humidity. So when we breathe our air in, everyone right now is pretty much breathing through their nose. You breathe in through your nose. What's that doing? It's heating, humidifying, and conditioning the gas we breathe in. For our lungs, we're all healthy. We're breathing room air, so we can actually keep up with our demands for our lungs, which is now using the nuclear transport system, which is pulling everything down. Imagine a patient though on 40, 50, 60 liters of flow. It's like driving down the freeway with your mouth open. It's going to be very dry really quickly, especially in Arizona. We're not in Arizona, I'm just going to think that up. But imagine a patient just very fast flows going over, it's going to dry you out. So how we do that is we actually deliver flows on the Airvo at, for the peds patients, it's 34 degrees. But in the adult setting, there's actually 37 degrees, and 34, and 31 degrees. The whole idea is to help that upper airway stay irrigated. So that way, when the patient breathes in, it's helping the upper airway so it doesn't, you're not getting congested. Once you get congested, you're gonna start breathing through your mouth. So which is obviously defeats the purpose of high flow. So we're trying to keep that upper airway irrigated for those patients. So this is just a video. Normal body temperature, obviously 37 degrees Celsius. We breathe in, we always talk in terms of absolute humidity. The weatherman talks about relative humidity. If we're outside when the polar vortex and like the relative humidity outside or the humidity outside is 50%, is it the same as when it's going to be in August, you're at an Indians game and it's 90 degrees outside and 50% humidity? It's not the same amount. It's all about how much volume of water volume can be held into the air at a certain given temperature. So we always say it's 37 degrees, you can hold a maximum of 44 milligrams per liter of absolute humidity. This is just kind of a video that shows what happens when you just drop the temperature down just a little bit on some of these patients, like a vent patient or even high flow patient. But on the left, it's 100% humidity at 37 degrees. Actually, this is done on a sheet trachea, so it's 38 degrees. On the right, it shows just 15, or drop of 10%, but you can start seeing the cilia beating. On the left, it's pulling all those pathogens, dust, and shit that we breathe in every day, normal human beings. On the right, just for a drop of just 15 minutes, how you can start seeing it's actually drying out a little bit. And just after an hour, how quick it can actually dry out. So that's the benefit, and that makes it much more comfortable for the patient.
I have a question about the temperature.
Yeah.
We had a 1-month-old that they had, but it was hypothermic, and they put the patient on high flow and really high temperature.
Yeah.
Does it really affect the temperature that much, or was this kind of like voodoo, fingers crossed?
Yeah, it's very minimal. The air temperature is going to affect the body a lot less than, let's say, like water or
Yeah.
something. So I think they say it only affects about 5 to 10%.
Okay.
At most. Because we do have that all the time. We have vented patients. We say recommend 37 degrees.
Yeah.
But the patient's still going to breathe in. It's still going to warm up. And that cilia still needs that 37 degrees. So.
Why is there a difference between peds and adults?
It's on that setup right there.
Yeah.
It's just limitation right now. So
Okay.
yeah, so that's unfortunate right we have right now.
Okay.
Any questions on that?
Do you have a neonatal study?
We don't have a neonatal study on this device. We have our humidifier that you can use, but then with that you need compressed air. This device, the Airvo, doesn't need compressed air at all. So that's one of the reasons why a lot of companies are really liking it for transport, because you only need, I can turn it on right now and it's going to generate flow.
What age group does that start at? Because neonates are 28
Yeah.
days or less.
Yeah, so 36 weeks and above, you can start going on our smallest cannula. It's all on the prong size.
You mean a 36-week baby?
Yeah.
So.
So,
I'm
36
confused,
week
I guess.
gestation at least?
Yeah, so you go down to 36 weeks
Okay,
and
I
go
gotcha.
up, yeah.
So you
Go
can
up
do
from there.
neonates then?
Well, their prong sizes are, it's all about 50% inclusion. So if you've got a kid with a big nares, you can start going down to those flows. Because we go down to flows of 2 on this device.
Okay.
Yeah. So those small, we have a neonatal size cannula. It's all about driving air through.
But it would have to be a full-term baby?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be the limitation on this. And, we've got a heater that you can use with the blender when you need the compressed air. I can talk to you guys about that.
Yeah, okay. Most likely, I guess, with the neonates, we use the isolate and probably just use our CPAP.
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
our
but we got
neonates.
asked by the NICU the other day if we had high flow for a patient. They weren't upset that we didn't, I mean, we
Yeah.
just kept them on.
Okay,
But they asked about it, so I wasn't sure if
okay.
that was coming too.
So this device is approved for neos as well?
Not this device itself. We've got a humidifier that you can use with the cannula itself goes down to neonate, it actually goes on the micropreemie,
Oh, so
but this
that's not-
device doesn't have.
Oh,
so-
that's what we're talking about. this
Yeah,
device.
so.
So what, like, what's the age group for this? Like, what's pediatrics cover for this?
So that's where it's 40 weeks and above. And we've got another device that is just a humidifier with another circuit.
It's less than 40 weeks
Yes,
gestation?
yes.
Okay, so it is
And I
new.
left all that stuff on my car.
Okay, that's fine.
Apologize, I thought it was adults, so. But this
So
is.
you're talking full term, but you can do a brand, like born
Yeah,
an
you got
hour
micro-
ago baby
Yeah,
with this device.
not with this device.
So where does this device cut off with
This
age?
is, starts at 40 weeks and above.
So 4-year-old?
40.
4.5-year-old?
Weeks.
About
So
5 months.
40
Got it.
weeks is a baby.
Yeah.
So that's
So
like a
full-term
newborn.
newborn.
Yeah, full,
Yeah.
Full-term newborn.
yeah, so we can do
Yeah.
that all the way up.
Oh, But then
Anybody less
below
than
that-
a
40
premature baby would have to be
40 weeks, you're looking at like an 8-month-old. No, 40 weeks gestation.
for gestational age.
That's what, yeah, but he said this device will not do a newborn baby, even at 40
Well,
weeks.
the prong size. So it's all about the prong size. So like you can put this kid on a kid, but prong size is going to be the big issue.
Okay.
And same thing with the flow. This only goes down to 2 liters of flow. So we've got another setup with all the other sizes.
And what does that cover?
That covers all the way from, I mean, we've got micro preemie sizes, so you can go down to 26 weeks
Okay.
gestational.
I see, all right. But that
But
machine
this
will give us a
machine here-
full-term baby we'll be able to put on.
Yes.
Okay.
When we
Yes.
talk to.
And then the-
All the way down to, newborn.
And then can go to an adult as well?
Yeah.
Oh, well, then that's
But this one goes to the adult too.
No, right?
So-
I don't know where this
So
is.
the other machine equally span from 26 weeks to adult?
Yeah,
I
but
got
the
you.
problem is, so this is, so
Yes.
going over this device, you don't need any compressed air at all. So I can turn this on right now, it's gonna generate up to 60 liters of flow, all the way down to 2 liters of flow. Problem is when you put it on your guys' rigs, you can't get down to flows below 2 liters. So then you have to go to just a heater, and then you still use a different circuit, same cannula, but different prong size. But the problem is just having to figure out how you use compressed air.
Each device has to be.
So you have the oxygen, but I don't know if you guys have.
We have
compressed-
medical.
You have medical, okay. So you can do that. So then the difference is you just would remove this device and then put the heater on
Yeah.
that. So that's something where maybe if you guys are just doing mainly kids, going to with babies, we just look at doing the heater instead, instead of the Airvo. 'Cause
But with
that's
the
what I
heater, you have to have.
Medical air.
Which we will in the isolette, because chances are we're gonna transport a neonate that's preemie, they're gonna be in an isolette.
Do we need medical air when it's doing an adult though?
That's the problem. So the Airvo, you wouldn't need it.
Right.
But
So
with
if
the
you
other
do
one, you
six-
would.
Yeah. So.
Does it still need a battery source? The
Um,
heater?
The heater, you have outlets, right? Or if you
Yeah,
transfer-
Yeah,
that
but
one
that doesn't have an
transport.
Or
internal
if you need
battery.
transfer, yeah, you have another external. So that's the dilemma right now. So sorry, I apologize. I thought it was only adults that we were doing today, but so P or like anything younger, we've got a heater that you can use. You can use the high flow. You just would have a circuit, which I have out in my car if you want to go grab it, and all the other sizes. And then the Airvo, once you get to the larger sizes, you don't need a medical air.
Okay.
So, do you want me to still go to Airvo or go to cannulas at least?
Yeah, I don't know how often we'd be using it on a micro frame.
Yeah, I don't know
I
either.
don't think-
I guess we'd probably have to talk to neonatology and see what they're thinking and if that's something they want us to consider. Because that'll be an extra, does it work with that or is it just separate from that?
It's separate, but I
Okay.
mean, it's smaller than this.
Uh-huh.
It's a humidifier that, if you look at this, probably about half the size.
Do you have that in your car?
Yeah.
Oh, maybe we could look at it then
Rhonda,
just to see
with
it.
that other unit though, we always have to have a med air tank with us and an oxygen. So for all
Right.
adults, we're gonna have to be hanging 2 tanks off our cot.
No, I thought that other one was strictly for preemie neonates.
It does.
Oh, it's for
You
everybody?
can, but
Oh,
we can
yeah.
use
this is more
strictly if it's that
beneficial.
cheap.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. We're not gonna do something we have to carry all that extra equipment with, no. I just thought it was mainly for the preemies, and we already have that stuff on the isolette, so
Yeah.
it'd be fine. But,
So yeah, we can't go down the preemies on this.
okay,
Device.
let's just look at that for now, don't you think?
I think so.
Yeah,
And this is almost.
yeah.
So the Airvo device, like I mentioned before, it has its own internal flow generator, so you don't need any medical air at all. I brought this in just to show you. You mount this on, and some people are taking just the pole, and they mount this on and put the Airvo on top of that. And then from there, that's where you guys usually get pretty MacGyverish on how to put it on your guys' rigs. Because I've seen some people take just a trolley and put it on there for the battery pack. But this is usually on bedside, you can put it on right here.
Archway, too?
Contrary, yeah, we'll fit
Yeah.
that in the
Okay.
battery unit.
Oh, well,
Perfect.
okay. So you
I think it'd
put
be
that-
better on that than on our IV
The
pole.
old-
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The old.
So the setup itself, you have a high flow, we've got a dual flow oxygen meter. This is the high flow, this goes 0 to 70. And then we have another one that actually has another connection that you use for your peds that goes 0 to 30. So if you're using your peds, you want to go to the 0 to 30. If you're using adults, you go to 0 to 70. We'll just connect a Christmas tree onto that. From there,
Is the 0 to 30 just a precautionary one, like in case you can't use the adult for all of them, in case you went too high?
well, if you do the this high flow one,
Yeah.
0 to 70, and let's say you're in a kid, 10 liters, once you turn the oxygen up just a little bit, it's gonna go all of a sudden up to 100%. You're never gonna be able to fine tune it.
Gotcha.
The 0 to 30 is just to fine
Okay,
tune
That makes sense.
it. So the setup itself, everything comes kitted. You've got the circuit, you got a chamber, and then you got the elbow piece. So setup is really easy. You just take the chamber, pop this in, and then this spikes, you spike the water bag or the bottle, whatever you guys use, and then this actually slides right into place. You just want to line the ports up, and then that clicks right in. Oops, sorry. So that just clicks right in to place, and then you spike that. Nice thing about this is there's one circuit. There's no temp probes, heater wire adapters at all. The other setup, you would have temp probes, heater wire adapters. Everything's internal here. The electrical outlets on the inside here. This little blue piece that you see around here, that's actually the heating element. And then we've got like a little bubble on the exterior too to help prevent ambient temperature from coming in, so you don't have any condensation come in, lavage the kids. Keep it consistent all the way through. Nice thing about this is when you set this up, it's one circuit, so I'll quickly show you how to set it up. You can see the little electrical connection in the back there. The best way to do it is kind of grab here. You slide, hold it this way, slide it on and push it on. If you try grabbing the blue sleeve and putting it on, you can see sometimes you push the blue sleeve over, it doesn't lock on. So just remember to kind of grab the circuit here and then clip over. One circuit will fit both your adult patients. So you can see I can use this now on my adult patients. Click this right in. I can now put on an adult. Or on my kids. And this is the pediatric size. This is the largest cannula. We've got 4 other sizes underneath. So that just flips on. Have you guys seen this cannula before? OptiFlow Junior?
I have
You
not.
guys are familiar with that? Nice thing about OptiFlow Junior, we designed it to really eliminate a lot of complaints and problems you have. Think about it, there's a lot of condensation in traditional cannula. We hear lavaging, taping, retaping, kinking or pinching. So we developed this cannula just to eliminate all those. This material here is actually called Evaco. It's designed to wick away any condensation that may get in the tubing. You hear complaints about obviously going up the baby's nose. This is designed to actually wick it away. This actually is a spring coil, so you can see I can pinch this like so, and actually stretch it. I can actually bend it on its side, pinch it, and then it springs back into place. The taping, retaping, we've actually eliminated. These are called wiggle pads, so these slide on and off. So actually when I put this on, you can see I can now tape, retape. This is actually designed to stay on the baby's face for up to 7 days without having to take it off. How we do that, there's just like a little duoderm material on one side. So you can see I pull back on one side and stick on the baby's face. And then the other side is just like a little Velcro felt material that allows me to do that. Flows are independent of each other, so when I pass this around, there's no dead space here at all. So if I have it on the kid, I can actually pull back, now suction and clean, put it back on their face, and then they're still receiving that flow. And
How
then
many sizes do you have for peds?
There's 5 total sizes. You got extra small, small, medium, large, and extra large. This is the extra large size.
How do you decide which size to use?
So we always say rule of thumb is 50% occlusion because you want that washout effect. Because it is designed to be an open system, just like all the other cannulas. But you just kind of size it up with the prong size. Some kids will have very large nares, and you can go with the large one right away. Some might have very long, small ones. And you go with that.
I just don't want to like open them up and waste them, like fitting them in something else too small and
Yeah.
do the next one.
And on the side of our packaging, we've got the dots, so you can kind of size it up
Oh, okay.
and see, so it's not you're kind of going in blind like what size
Okay.
it is.
So there's 5 peds and then just 1 adult?
Nope, there's 3 adults. So there's actually small, medium, and large. And then there's actually a trach too as well. So if you ever have trachs, more for bronchial hygiene than anything.
I don't know, this might be a weird question, but how long is the circuit good for before it's over? Like how long do they last?
Do they last? There's no expiration on our circuits. Yeah.
What is the,
Or is it?
I assume that's reusable. What's the cleaning procedure for the circuit?
Yeah, so this is disposable. All this is disposable here. So once you're done, you dispose of it. You'd wipe it down, and then we do have a cleaning cycle that there's tubing that goes on this way, and then it actually warms up to 55 or 90 degrees Celsius, and it is a 55-minute cycle.
But that portion there is disposable?
Yep, all this
okay.
you just take and throw off.
So we don't have to worry about cleaning it,
Well, the device itself, there's
just wiping it down?
you wipe it down, and then afterwards there's another circuit that you put on, and that is a 55-minute cleaning cycle.
We have to do that every time?
Yes.
Oh.
So,
I
and then
didn't
it
know that.
cleans this little elbow.
Sterilized.
Yeah, it's 90. It heats up to 90 degrees Celsius, and then it heats this little elbow up to at 90 degrees because this was exposed to heat.
Oh.
We
So
don't
it's
get
55 minutes in
back to back.
between each patient. We do
Yeah,
that.
can we do those in the, like if we're running on another transport, can we
Sit
do
in
in the
the truck.
truck? Yeah?
You can do it
Okay.
on power in the truck.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
It can wait 20 minutes for it to finish.
I can't imagine we'd be
Take that
Doing
one,
that
turn around
doing
and
it
get
that
back to
fast.
somebody.
That we wouldn't be able to clean it.
I would say it's like doing your laundry. You throw it in, you press the button on, turn it on, you walk away, do something else, you come back, and you're like, oh, it's done.
I didn't realize.
We can start.
Now, is UH going to these, or, I mean, are we going to be able to, like, if we take someone to the ICU, they'll use our stuff? Or are we gonna be just using this for the 30-minute transfer and then throwing everything away?
You could, they use the Airvo.
They already-
Yeah,
okay.
they use the Airvo and UH.
Okay.
So you could technically come in, bring it
Yeah.
in, and then, take the circuit off and put it on.
Just plug it into theirs and everything will be fine.
I wonder if the same thing holds true if we put somebody else up on an Airvo
Yeah.
and use their stuff.
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna have to throw it out if we
At least
don't.
everybody's still on.
Right.
So there's
I
no
just
reason we can't
wondered
just
if-
pop it off, put it on
Yeah.
ours, and
Yes,
PICU has these. System is moving to these,
Okay.
is what Anderson told us.
okay, I just wondered like if we go to a referring facility and they're already on an Airvo,
Yeah.
just take their stuff
That's what
with
we
us.
do with the vents.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, there are hospitals in the area, Cleveland Clinic has them as well.
We don't care
We
about
don't really care about them, yeah. Probably not. I'm trying to think Sumo.
That's a swear word.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, I should have.
I'm kidding.
I was gonna say, I just came from Michigan, so that's even bigger swear word, right?
All right.
So to turn it on, you'll see how quiet it is too. And the adult cannula, same thing. This actually swivels right here, so you can see how this swivels. The whole idea is if I turn the circuit and it's on, this isn't gonna move at all, so you can see how that just swivels, so it doesn't pop out. The same material that I told you about OptiFlow Junior, this is on this cannula as well. It's called Evaqua. It's designed to wick away the condensation. The sizing, everything has color coordinated, so pediatric size or the extra large is the green. There's a purple, there's a yellow, there's a red, and there's a blue. On the adults, there's a blue for medium. Smalls, actually orange, and then large is green. This is actually in the peds mode right now. So I'll turn this off. So I had it in junior mode, so it's really easy to go in between adult mode and junior mode. But to put this on, I'll just show you how quiet it is. This clip here is designed to actually take the weight off the cannula. So you can see here, does that look comfortable now? No, it doesn't feel comfortable because it's on my ear. So you kind of want to have this clipped on. You see how there's a little bit of slack. So that way I can turn side to side. Obviously I can twist this if I want. I can turn side to side without it actually having any issues. To go, temperature right now is warming up, but there's a little check mark where there is delivering flow. So this is actually 60 liters, just so you guys can hear how quiet it is. So you can see at the screen 60. but I can talk, it's comfortable, pretty easy to set up, so. Alright. I can go over the display settings rather than having you guys come over there. Turn this down. So I'll go over the settings. We actually have an app. You can download it on your phones and play around with it if you want. Yeah, so it's more for education.
Put it on the iPads.
All right, so
App under.
just Airvo 2, and it's literally the top of the Airvo. So rather than me having everyone huddle around, I figured it's probably best to do this. To turn the device on, you've got the big on button. It's up the top. You just press and hold for 3 seconds. On the left, you've got 3 settings. You got mute, up and down arrows, and the old school play button. That's going to tell you the last time it was disinfected. So that mode I told you how it takes 55 minutes. You want that to be green. That's ready for a new patient. So you can put it on a new patient. You get this little squiggly mark. I would say it's like the apple swirl. But you can see your 3 settings. You get your temperature, your flow, and then your FiO2. To scroll through the menus, I'm going to hit the play button. And that just allows me to go through each setting. So you can see temperature, you can see how it's locked. You got your flow, and then your FiO2. I'm going to switch it to the PEDS mode for you guys, which is junior mode. And to switch into that mode, all I do is press and hold the play button for 5 seconds, and it gets me into the other mode.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
How long does your temperature take? How long does it take to get the temperature up to where you want it? Like, starting it, if we started when we get on the floor, it's going to take minutes to get to 34?
It'll take a couple minutes. Yeah,
Okay.
it's pretty
So we
quick.
should start it when we get in the patient room, to get it set up.
Yeah, so I mean, I think you heard it just before this one beeped. Did you hear that one beep?
Oh.
So the minute I turned it on to then, which
Oh,
was probably
okay.
like 2-3 minutes maybe,
Okay.
it was the check mark started.
Okay.
So pretty quick. So I'm out of water, I think.
That's mine.
Oh, that's yours. I'm like.
IO2 is too high.
Oh, okay. I'll have you come up here and do this. So to go in the PEDS mode, right now I've got the screen right, like so. I'm just gonna hit that play button and hold it for 5 seconds. So I'm doing the demo, so it's gonna seem like it's a 5 long seconds because it's an awkward pause where I just stand here and hold it.
Is it, and then that's the app for, that goes on any iPad?
Yep, iPad, your iPhone if you want to. Android I think has it as well, so it's good for training. There's actually videos and demos on there too, scenarios, so you can go on there. But to tell I'm in junior mode for your peds, your kids, you can see the little butterfly on the bird.
It's just that it won't control it. Yeah, it's just the.
It won't control it, yeah. It's just, yeah, this is just for training.
Where's the Bluetooth?
I know, Bluetooth takes the line. But to scroll through, so again, same thing, I hit the play button, and then to unlock it, I'm just gonna press and hold the up and down arrows for 3 seconds, and that unlocks it. The reason why we lock it, you think about it, if you're in the hospital, you don't want loved ones to go in there and start playing with the settings. You don't want the patient to go on and say, I should turn down my flow or turn down my temperature and things.
How
So,
did you lock it again? I wasn't
sorry.
paying attention.
So to unlock it, it's automatically locked.
Oh, it's
I'm gonna go through,
automatic.
yeah. But to unlock it, I just press and hold the up and down arrows for 3 seconds, and then it's gonna start flashing. So once it starts flashing, that means it's ready to be changed. But since I have it in the PEDS mode, we only limited to 34 degrees. The adult setting has 31 degrees, 34 degrees, and 37 degrees. Yep.
Sorry if you answered this. Can you change the alarm values?
You can't change them there.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, you can change them. I'll go over alarms here in a second, but they sound like what your phone was sounding like, and I'm like.
Still doing it, I just turned it off.
Oh. So same thing, flow. Press and hold up and down arrows for 3 seconds, and then you can see I go all up to 25 liters per minute on junior mode, and then I can go all the way down to 2 liters as well. So that's the lowest you can go in PEDS mode. So I'm just going to go to, let's say 15, And then to lock it, there's two ways to lock it. I can either hit the press play button, or I just wait 10 seconds and eventually it'll stop flashing and it'll actually lock. So I'll just show you. It's gonna lock here in a second. It's a long second because maybe during the app they don't lock it, but normally it would.
That was fun.
And then your FiO2. So since we set our flow, we want to deliver 15 liters. The machine's gonna know that it's gonna be delivering 15 liters that we set it. We're gonna now bleed in oxygen. Once we start bleeding in oxygen, it doesn't change the flow because we've already set that. It's gonna automatically compensate. So the more oxygen I bleed in, the device is still gonna deliver 15 liters. It's just gonna auto compensate with the amount of, as we bleed in more oxygen. So over here, I got my flow meter. So if I want to go up at 50%, you can see how I just turn my oxygen off.
Do you have to unlock that to get into your oxygen?
Nope, so the oxygen would be just your flow meter hanging on the wall, or if you have it on top of your
Oh,
flow.
I see what you're doing, okay.
Yeah,
I
so
don't know
you
why
just
I'm
go up your
thinking
flow.
that it was on here, that we did something. I
No,
didn't know
yeah,
that
you
that
just,
was on
the
there.
oxygen meter,
Gotcha.
that 0 to 30 or 0 to 71, that's when you just turn and start bleeding it in.
Okay.
And then so if you want, you can turn it down to, and again, fine tune it. Any questions on that? Does that make sense? So you can see how the flow stayed the same when I just turn up the oxygen and then the FiO2 went up. To get out of PEDS mode, and let's say you want to go to adult mode, you just press and hold the play button for 5 seconds again, and it goes back to adult mode. Let's see, birds and butterfly will disappear. So alarms. So there's a couple alarms you can see here on the screen. There's a blockage, cannula's kinked, the circuit's pinched, it'll start alarming. If you don't plug in like the water chamber before, I showed you guys, if you don't plug it in all the way, you'll start getting alarming on that. If you run water, it'll start alarming as well. The air filter, I forgot to mention, but the air filter on the back, I'll show you guys once I get back over there. There's an air filter that needs to be changed every 1,000 hours for 3 months. Very, very simple and easy change, but it will alarm saying change your filter. And then cannot reach target flow, so if something's obstructing the back, I've seen that where it can't bring it in. What's that?
Is that something we do, or we couldn't, like, the clinical engineering swap, like it's
The
something?
filter?
Yeah.
Well, it's gotta be done every 3 months. Or, I mean, that
Well, I
might
didn't
be,
know it's something like you just pop it out.
It's extremely easy. Yeah, I'll show you guys. You'll
maybe
see
we
it
can
in a
label
second.
it like when we do it.
And it will automatically recognize when you change it. So let's say I just check water. That's the alarm that you guys heard earlier. The nice thing is it actually tells you on the screen. So if you're trying to figure out what's going on, it will then give you a picture saying, check the water, we're out of water. Once you, the upper left button, there's a mute button, so you can mute it. So it's not on this one. But on the other one, it will actually mute it. Other alarms are if you unplug it without actually turning the device off, it'll start alarming. So if you look at the screen, there's a black screen, you're saying, why is this beeping at me? It's because someone unplugged the power. If you have the oxygen still on, because again, it's drawing room air in and it's blending that oxygen together, it will actually tell, excuse me, it'll actually say disconnect oxygen as well. So that's another alarm.
If it does get unplugged accidentally, and you plug it back in, does it remember, or do you have to start all over?
To start, just turn on really quick and then turn it off.
So you had to
No,
start all over? Does it keep
if you're on a
settings?
patient.
If you're on a
keep the same
patient, you come
settings.
unplugged,
Yeah.
and you plug it back in, will it automatically pick up where you unplugged it at?
Yeah.
Or
yeah,
does it forget everything, you have to start all over?
Nope, it'll have the same
Okay.
settings. So if you had 60 liters of flow and you still have the oxygen on, all of a sudden some accidentally unplugged it, you could plug it back in and just turn it back on and it'll
Okay.
start delivering that 60 liters.
If it is unplugged and plugged back in, what's the boot time? What's the therapy interruption?
I'm not
Seconds,
really
minutes?
certain. It's not going to be that long.
We can try
I mean, we can try it right now if you want to. Let me show you guys.
I'm
Um,
curious.
So I'll turn this on while we're letting it warm up really quick. So the filter I was telling you about, is right at the back. So the oxygen bleeds in here. So you'd have your oxygen flow meter, and then you'd actually have your oxygen tubing goes here, and then here's the filter. This pops off the back like so, and then the filter, you can see, you just take this, toss it.
I think we can do that, Ron.
So, and then there's a little track.
Some of us.
So I recommend going from the bottom. Usually it's off the edge, but go from the bottom and clip it up. I've seen some people put it on where they just push it here, and it looks like it's on there, but next thing someone does is bump that and it pops off. That's another reason where you can't reach that FiO2. So just recommend kind of going from the bottom, clipping it up. So you mentioned, I've never tried this, but if we unplug it, so it's on it now. So you can see the screen, it's dark right now. It actually gets a little bit louder as we go. So you just plug it back in and then turn it back on. And then it should start delivering flow again relatively quickly. So we gotta stop lunch. Do you guys do
I
that?
started like 5
Do you have to hit the play button
No.
first, or will it just start?
You have to turn it back on.
You just have to
Yeah,
twist
once
it
you
on.
turn it on, you
So
don't have to
I'm
hit
getting
any.
flow right now.
You're getting flow?
Under 25 seconds.
20, 25 seconds.
Oh, really?
Alright.
Okay. It's light flow, it's not back up to 60 yet, but you're still starting to get some.
Okay.
So we're probably not going to die that quick. Great. That's all we need to know.
Okay.
Flow around there.
Right?
So this does have battery backup, yes?
No, there is a battery.
There's an external
Yes,
battery.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll
Now-
get that.
So my question is, if it comes unplugged, will it automatically flip over to battery power, or?
So the way I've seen it set up in the past is you plug this obviously in the battery,
Mhm.
and then usually the one that we have is, or the one that I've seen before, I'm trying to think if it's sealed off or not. But all the cords are zip tied right next to it, so it shouldn't unplug from the battery.
I guess my question is, if we go and pick up a patient, we put them on this, and then we get down to our squad,
mhm.
are we gonna be able to plug into the wall, or does it need to stay on the battery? Is it gonna shut off when we go to switch it from?
Plug it shut up
battery
if you
into the
switch
wall.
it, but you can plug the battery into the wall.
That's what I
Plug
was
the battery.
wondering.
Okay.
Are we plugging the battery in?
And those
not
batteries will
necessarily-
run a refrigerator for days.
They'll last a while.
Literally.
Yeah. Which ones?
Those
Like the Yeti
Oh, the Yeti ones, yeah.
They're like.
I'd rather just plug it
Goal
in,
zero.
like I think every time we get into the
Once
truck,
they're- Yeah.
just plug it in to assure that it's staying
Yeah,
charged.
but instead of
Yeah, you'd
unplugging
plug in the
this-
battery, not plug in the machine.
Correct.
In the battery, okay.
And once you unplug the battery, let's say we keep it together, it doesn't fit together? Because I've not seen these before, so.
Yeah, it doesn't go, there's a mount, however you guys have a mount for it, so.
Oh, so it's a separate
It's a
unit?
separate- yeah.
Okay, all right. Okay,
We wouldn't need the mount, because
They both-
if we're gonna put it on the tray,
yeah, that's fine. How does it connect though? Is there something that the battery connects into that and then we plug into the battery?
Just I think the power cord probably, right, or
Yep.
that would be,
the battery's a separate thing than this.
Right.
yeah.
So they don't go, this just,
We don't
the
connect,
battery
doesn't
is
connect or anything.
its own thing, this is its own thing, and that just, the power cord plugs into the battery.
That's what I meant. I
Yeah.
didn't know how. All right.
Kind of like with our vents, we don't unplug the vent from the battery and plug it into the wall, we plug in the battery
Yeah.
and it goes through.
Yeah, think of the battery like the spring pack on the LTD.
Yeah.
It's always plugged in, and then we can plug it in. Same thing. We got this.
Oh, I'm fine with it. I'm just thinking how it would, like, we're always gonna take the battery and the unit, they're always gonna be together.
So do you have,
Right,
they
yeah.
have to do that.
Okay. Just
And
have
then
to
we're gonna
check
need
it
that,
out.
the flow meter also,
Mhm.
because that mounts to a pole, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what's the demand on the flow meter?
Yeah.
How many liters per minute are we talking about with the flow meter?
So there's two of them, so I'd recommend probably the dual flow meter. So imagine this just extending out and another one here. This is 0 to 30 liters per minute, and then this one's 0 to 70. So And this
Oh,
one
yeah,
comes
that'd be
in.
probably a better idea to have them attached.
Then we just plug a quick line in.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't make sure the
Yeah.
connection was the same.
Yeah, we can get a meter for that, it's not a problem.
Yeah, you can put a quick connect on the bottom of that.
Well, we've
So
got-
yeah, I'm looking at, I'm trying to
Yeah,
figure out,
so-
that goes on to the end.
Okay.
Yeah, so I've seen, this is, and I've got pictures if you guys, St. Luke's in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, they sent pictures over. You want me to show you how they set theirs up?
Rhonda, we can just slap our quick connect at the end of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
Connect it on here if you want, and vice versa.
How long will our little tanks on the cot last if we're running 70
At
liters?
70 liters, not very long.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
I-
How
yeah.
long did
Five minutes.
how long will that last?
Just gonna have to make sure we have a full tank before we go in.
Well, how
I
long-
can do the math on it, but a 15 liter on one of our full tanks lasts us just over 20 minutes,
Yeah.
25 minutes.
So you're looking at like
Six.
5.
6 minutes?
Long enough to get up to the floor. But not everyone's gonna be maxed out
I
at
don't think it'll be
70,
long enough to get up to the floor.
100%.
Yeah, and this is capped out at 60 liters, so you want to move to 70.
So yeah, we'll make it.
Not with an adult.
You're just gonna have to walk real fast.
They don't.
Just run
Yeah.
down to 600.
Click that over there.
Because most of the adults were taken to the.
Can I
NICU
see a
with
picture
us,
of it
so
all
that's not
hooked
bad.
up? Like, do you have anything on?
A stand or?
No, just, yeah, like it just all connected together.
Yeah.
Like what it would look like if I walked into a room and saw it.
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen it.
Yeah, we need to calculate one of the big tanks too.
The big tanks is what
How
I'm worried
far?
Yeah.
about. Portable.
How far can we go on our flow with it?
Can you go to St. E's?
Yeah, you don't work it?
Can you go to Portage?
Trying to find some picture.
I mean, those are, I'm
On
50, I'm 50 liters.
It
I'm
depends
saying
on the
I'm 30
setting.
liters.
You put up-
At 40% on 30
Tank
liters.
calculators.
No, but I know how to do the math. So 11 minutes on an E-tank, assuming it runs down to zero. At 60 liters.
That's at a full
That's at
tank.
60
That's
liters.
our portable.
How much of it, 100%, or does that not matter?
That's, no.
No.
Doesn't
No, it's
matter.
just
We have
60
a
liters
flow.
of flow. Because we won't be able to change
M
that.
cylinder.
You change the FiO2 by how much oxygen flow you have.
See, I don't understand that.
Okay, he's
Like how I
calculating
get
it.
my oxygen.
Can we even make it,
So
can
on
we
the,
make that some Portage?
it'll give you a printout on the screen, but if you turn the flow up, it'll show you on the screen, okay, this is delivering now.
You're basically
Okay,
just,
so I'm just
Portage.
suggesting.
So you're titrating the oxygen percentage.
You
by
gotta
how
have
much
some
flow
fun,
you have.
Terry.
And sitting on the freeway at 5 o'clock?
You're doing the
Yeah, sorry.
M tank is 606.
That's just the battery.
I can never remember how many liters are in those tanks, so.
Oh, okay, all right.
All right. M cylinder.
Oh, they have like, okay. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that one. Okay, yeah. St. Luke's is a.
So at 50 though, it's at 50 liters, right?
Yeah, delicious.
M is 30.
How come I said 50 on there? Was that just because of?
Lisa does that.
Obviously, I'm curious those.
Have you tried microwaving them? I think there's a microwave.
Wait, so why does it say 60 and 50?
Yeah.
These are really good.
The question was, they say microwave.
Yeah.
M cylinder at 60 liters is 57 minutes.
So,
That's
Yeah, you
a,
have to make it
That's one cylinder.
per cylinder, we have.
Right.
as long as it's full.
and that's a full cylinder.
So pad that, we've got an hour and a half.
Yeah.
We got an hour and a half radius.
So
At
that's,
60.
that's basically a jog.
And with 2 full tanks.
With 2 full tanks.
On free flowing traffic.
Yeah, from jog, you have jog.
An hour and a half.
That's jogging nine.
Okay, well.
Full tank.
All right.
We always tell them, training everyone.
I mean,
But that's
if
assuming
we're
they
gonna
got
look at this.
40.
Right, yeah, there's usually a
So 30 is a 4-hour drive.
And
Yeah.
that kind of lowers the oxygen. Okay, that makes sense.
At 30, that makes sense, 20 to 30 liters.
Assuming that's a linear.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So that's Trumbull.
On the tanks.
I would assume it.
That's St.
The ice one.
Whatever she
This is, yeah, they are, because I figured that out for the
I
vent.
didn't even know
Under,
it
under.
was after 5.
Should come out.
Thanks for in hospital,
We're,
I'm assuming.
Yeah, that's what the hospital looks like.
Yeah, you're a vendor, right? You're ready,
Yes,
registered
yeah.
as a vendor.
Yeah.
Can I just, in case of like,
Here you go, home sick.
Did you send Tony the clerks at all?
Got a new truck?
Well, yeah, I thought you was the one.
What you got? I don't want
Another.
Oh, and,
Some off these
yeah.
Canadian.
Really?
When I got
Is it in kilometers?
It was in kilometers.
That's
It was
awesome.
in kilometers and liters. When I, first time I filmed it, it
Yeah,
said
we have-
720. And then I realized it was in kilometers. I'm like, oh.
I had a 92 Honda Accord
That's too heavy.
in college, and that was from Canada, but you couldn't change it from kilometers, so I had to like.
Conversion shop. Because we have a cot trace, would be ideal.
Yeah,
That's what you
30,000
should do.
miles.
Yeah, so
It's the
that's.
6th of 2016.
Nice.
I know that.
Yeah.
That's what I was
I
looking
sent
for.
pictures of
I'm happy with it.
Luke,
Yeah.
they've got.
Basically same truck I had, just Ford.
Bracket.
Not a cab.
Tray.
Same motor, same training,
But is that
Same
in-house
time.
or transport?
different time.
That's
Do
the
it.
transport.
Nothing wrong with
Where do
that.
they put the?
130.
Okay.
Better they,
It was just because it was the
you know
one,
the,
that was the only
the
reason.
dollies?
Mhm.
Like a movie? They have a
The ALS.
dolly. We can show you pictures if you want.
What?
No.
They
They have a dolly,
Yeah.
and they have one side, they have the
Yeah.
oxygen tank, two tanks, and the other side, where it's scoop up the box or whatever.
And I really got
To the battery.
Yeah, you need to get a little.
45 solid.
We're gonna go through it.
But I know this game was very
That's
high. I was happy.
off the rig.
I was real happy.
Done by now.
Bought this one, yeah.
What dealer? Yeah, that's a hospital setup.
So you have them mounted.
Yeah, I wanted to very specific. Either everybody in the world we go to or nobody
Yeah,
in
so
the
that
world.
the
We
seat
have
pack
everybody.
is mount onto a pole.
I
And
was just
that's
going
what
every
everyone,
40
I said, here's a
websites.
picture of the one that St. Luke's
Yeah,
does.
with concentric
I can go
circles.
into that now, and then the
How's that
900
doing?
or 405.
Yeah, they can take everything.
The mounting tree, I don't think you can use that either.
Yeah, so I was just straight up.